Hey everybody. I still need to basically go and get an overlay for this that'll put information up. I haven't done it yet. I got my Fauci ouchie. I got my vaccine, my coronavirus shot on Friday, and Friday night and most of yesterday I slept off and on. Uh, so I miss it. I had honestly thought about streaming on Twitch tonight. Just me going over TikTok videos, and I got to be honest with you, I'm not feeling good anyways, and I might still start doing this on Sundays, just finding stuff to watch, but I really don't know if I want to advertise TikTok right now. I put up a funny commercial. Now I'm pretty sure the people who created this have put this up on YouTube, and that usually, like if it's on YouTube or if it's on Facebook, that usually makes it available to share, whether they know it or not. And at least I think it does. I could be wrong. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not really that pissed about it. But they muted one of my videos, and they said it was because my bigger problem with TikTok is I just don't think they're honest. I really don't think they're honest. I've been hearing these complaints from people that are actually big on TikTok. Hell, even he's not even really that big, but it's one of the guys that I play Minecraft with. He got in what they call their creator fund. They sent him they had to send him $60 because he qualified. Well, now he's and I think that's what they call shadow ban, but now he's like, well, yeah, my videos don't seem to be reaching anybody. And I've heard this before. There's some of these girls, they put up videos on TikTok that are real popular. And as soon as they get up to about 15,000 subscribers on TikTok, their account gets canceled for basically the same shit that they did to get to it. So I think what they're doing is they're fucking with it. So when people get to where they start making money, they make it harder for them to make money, which is what I think happened to Biker. And, they make it harder for them to make money. And then the other thing they do is if you get big enough, like some of those girls, they get big enough that you really can't do nothing about it. They get big enough, there's really no way they can, they get followed. People will go check them out and watch their videos. So then they cancel their account. That's my opinion on it. And they did that to me. They put up a ban, and this was not even that popular. But they're like, oh, well, this thing violates our terms of service. And I think there might be something else going on, and this isn't necessarily their fault, other than the fact that they're going along with it. But there was a clown. He commented on a video, and he was just flat out wrong. And I tried to explain it to him a couple different times. It's like, hey, that's just not the way it is. And he just kept, and the funny thing is, after he'd been doing this it became clear that he had not watched the video. He or she, and their name was some kind of a play on cannabis. So they're probably smoking so much pot that their fucking brain doesn't function anymore, would be my guess. But there's a video, some demented old battle axe. I don't know. It isn't clear what the issue is, because the camera doesn't see everything, and clearly there was some kind of an event that happened before the camera got turned on, or before the video, the point at the video where it starts. But she's basically not letting this guy go anywhere. She's in his way. And he's trying to leave. Well, he's either got a motorcycle or a moped. I honestly think it's a moped. And she will not let him leave. Well, I looked up in my state, and again, I'm not a lawyer. Don't take this as legal advice. But because I got arguing with this idiot, because somebody put a comment in there that they would have just ran her over. And that is what I was responding to. Somebody was going, I would have just run the old bitch over. And because he tried to leave and she kept getting in his way, she grabbed his mirror, and she ended up shutting the mirror down, almost knocked it over. And he tried a couple different times to get away, and she kept either grabbing onto the bike, almost tipping him and it over, or she got in the way. And I just made the comment that, hey, it would, to the guy, not to this dumbass, but to the guy that made the comment, I would have just ran her over. I go, legally, it'd probably be better for you to get off the bike and move her by hand and then leave. And this guy, he's one of these delusional nuts. And I'm not saying he is one of these First Amendment auditors, but he's just like him. He's in this delusional state of mind where you have no right to put your hands on anybody. And these are the same, more than likely, this stupid fuck, he's one of these ones that if the cops physically remove you from a building because the people that own the building want you to go, see, that's assault. You put your hands on me. I've seen videos of these nut jobs. They go to the police station after some criminal's been arrested. Oh, you have a political prisoner here. We need to get him released. They've gone in on live streams where one of their fellow live streamers, either with them or in another location, got arrested, and they've literally called the cops, and they're trying to get the person released from custody. And the people at the jail, they're like, okay, well, what's his name? And they're like, oh, okay, and they're calling the police department. Of the people that have arrested him, they're like, we don't have anybody in the system. They're like, I don't know what to tell you, but there's nobody in our cells by this name. And then he starts explaining to them, oh, no, I'm watching it live on YouTube. They're in the police car. And they're like, wait a minute. They go, you expect, us to call a police officer and tell him to release a guy just on your say-so? Yeah. And they're like, well, that's not going to happen. They go, we're just dispatch. Even if we wanted to, which we don't, we don't have the authority to do that. We just don't. And these guys get all fucking pissed off over that shit. Okay, here's the dilemma I got. I'm going to finish working on it. I was kind of working on this the last time. And I'm not kidding you. I'll keep putting these up. I got 20 views on this thing. And I sometimes watch through it to check audio levels and shit like that. I had 20 views on this thing by the time I woke up. It went out this morning. I had it set up to go out. And I had 20 views on it before I even woke up in the afternoon, which I got to be honest with you, I was pretty happy with that. I ain't going to lie. That made my day. I don't care if they were there for 5 minutes. I'll work on keeping them later. But I'm getting noticed. That was a huge thing for me. And in fact, I think I'm going to start retitling my Ace of Spades, because this one here, I just put Bunny Kingdom Realm on there, and holy shit, did it get noticed. Ooh, we got something evil here. But I built one of these. I started here first, but I only play this like once a week. And last Sunday, I'll be honest with you, I had fully intended to, if I can keep my shit together, if I can function for 3 or 4 hours like I did last Sunday, I'll probably go over and work on it. But I fully intended to work on the raid farm last Sunday, and I never made it. I wanted to get a gold farm because some of the stuff I'm doing at my base, I need gold. And I haven't found, normally what I do is I find a zombie spawner, I convert it to a drowned farm, and I used to get tridents from it. I don't get that anymore. I'm okay with that, but they still drop gold. But that's going to be changing anyways, so I built a kind of a ghetto gold farm. I did kind of a ghetto gold farm, and I am eventually going to see, I got to look into it, because I think the one that I know about, I probably couldn't build it from memory anyways, but there's one that used to work, and I don't think it works anymore. These things are fucking annoying, I ain't going to lie. And, but I think the one that used to work, it was almost like a zero-tick gold farm. I don't think those work anymore. And so I just built a passive one. I put the portals above my iron farm, and I just, before I came on, I went down. I had to go down. I had to use the bathroom real quick, and so I had to move a little faster than I'm comfortable with. Well, by the time I got back upstairs, I was lightheaded. I ended up taking a nap for a little bit. But while I was awake, what I did is I just hung out at the iron farm, and as they spawned, I killed the pigmen. So I've got over half a stack of gold nuggets. So I should have enough for 1 or 2 powered rails. But I got going on this. I'm doing a little bit of what I did last Sunday. I can't focus. I apologize. I'm going to be all over the place on conversation. But I started working on this, and then I just had a bug for it. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna do this on the AOS server. And it took me a couple days, but I got a fair amount of it built. And it isn't completely finished, but it is functioning. There's still a couple, but I mean, basically I got to go manually launch the carts, but it's Silent Whisper's Ghast farm. And you get gas tiers, which are good, and you get apparently a ton of gunpowder. And I already built a creeper farm, but the creeper farms don't really produce like they used to. And so he goes, you're not gonna really build this for the gas tiers. He goes, you're gonna build this for the gunpowder. He goes, this will outperform any creeper farm you can build. He goes, it just will. And I can already see it, because I think I've gotten more gunpowder in that thing. After I got it sort of up and running last night, I got more gunpowder from that thing in a couple hours than I have in months of having that creeper farm. And I've even AFK'd at that thing I probably AFK'd at it for like 10 hours, and I just in a couple hours, and it's not even technically a gunpowder farm. I got like 2 or 3 times the amount of gunpowder in a couple hours versus a couple months. Now, granted, we're talking like 15 to 20 hours of AFK over several months, but it is just out producing it. And I don't need... He was saying once you get it completely built, and see, with my health issues, I am absolutely not going to build. I am absolutely not going to build over a lava lake. It just isn't going to happen. I'm just not. Even on this world, I won't purposely build over a lava lake. Fuck this. I'm going to run around. Yeah, I got to light this place up. I gotta light this up because I don't want to sit and fuck with these guys every 10 feet. Yeah, this world here, they've got they got some kids that are on here. The person that invited me, if I remember right, they were one of my earlier Mixer followers, and I I still have, and I'm not complaining. I'm grateful for everything I get. I really am. But I had more Mixer followers than I currently have. I think I was up in the 70s or 80s. Now, granted, they didn't watch a lot, but I think I had usually a few more people watching on Mixer than what I do here. But I've got a couple fairly loyal people that show up and watch, which is cool. I didn't have that on Mixer. You never knew who was, but he was one of my more faithful viewers on Mixer. Well, when I was on a server, and when he found out that, at least this is the way I think, I might be wrong, but I think this is what happened. He found out I didn't have a place to play. He invited me to play with him and his friends, and all of them are like way younger than me, but some of them are like real young. Some of them are like of age to vote. I'm not sure any of them are old enough to drink, but they invited me, and it was about the same time I got on the current server I stream Twitch from. So this is always a nice backup if they keep it going. And but I got to be honest with you, if the AOS server goes to shit, I'll probably start from here. And I hate it because I have gotten so used to the one player sleep. So for streaming during the week, if other people are on, it'll be a little bit of a pain. Like now, it isn't so bad because I'm somewhat established. But when you're first starting out and you're trying to basically wrangle villagers and everything else, waiting for everybody and their cousin to find a bed and go to sleep is annoying as all get out. It is no joke there. And so I got this for my Sunday, and then like I said, if something goes wrong with the other one, then I'll just strike. But if this one and the other one go to hell, I seriously think I'm just going to play on my own local game, unless I can afford to buy a server, because I just don't know if I want to go and start all over again just to have it go to shit in 6 months. And he's like a really good guy, and so if this comes off bad, I don't mean it that way. He's like a really good, hardworking guy, and he's moving. And every now and then something bad will happen, and maybe he doesn't mean it. I really hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't, but they're in the middle of moving. And so he wasn't going to be able to stream last night. At least that's what he said. He goes, yeah, I won't be streaming Saturday. He's in the middle of moving. Well, then, sometime yesterday, he was letting everybody know. He said, well, yeah, he goes, so no, I think it's an older house. That's my inference. And he goes, yeah, I got to wire up everything because it's an old house. And someone's like, well, how much is that going to cost? He goes, I'm an electrician. So he goes, I'll just do it. And then later in the day, he was like, fuck it, I'm done. He's ready to give up on streaming. And all I can say is, and I'm not there, this is just my opinion, and it could be wrong, but he does this a lot, where the minute he meets a little resistance, he just starts talking about, well, maybe this ain't for me. Maybe I should get... And you're never going to get anything in life like that. I'm sorry. When I was doing martial arts, the first day I went there and I couldn't learn to hit a 5-hit combo on the mitts, and I said, fuck it, you might as well quit then. If that, you got to put the work in, and if you're going to, and this is the thing, if you're going to be successful, you are going to fail a lot more than you succeed. But yeah, he was trying to wire up his house. And like I said, I don't know the deal, but I got a feeling he's got like a really old house. Jesus Christ, these things are like fucking roaches. I'm just going to run to the other end and attack it from the other end. As soon as I dig this down enough, I am going to start spawning iron golems up here. And just, you know, I got plenty of iron. I can camp out if I need more, but I'm just going to start spawning iron golems up here and let them... So I don't want to spend... Even if I wasn't streaming, I don't want to spend a lot of time farming these little fucking rodents. They're like fucking cockroaches on this thing. But I got to be honest, this is the annoying thing of building this. It's so big. It'll be easier on here because, like I said, they got to keep inventory. But it was well over 10, 15 times that the gas farm that I was building on the AOS server got blown up by the gas. Minor damage, but annoying shit. Absolutely annoying shit. And I am going to have to spend... I either got to dig up the gold, and I haven't found a mesa yet, or I have to... But I either got to find some gold to mine, or I really got to work that gold farm, because that gas farm, I don't know how many tridents I got, but it's going to take tridents. I don't think I have enough. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get one of them going. I sort of built one, and I think I'm going to make some alterations to it. I absolutely think I'm going to make some alterations to it, just so it's easy, because I can't put it in, and I'm not saying he did this, but he wasn't creative when he was building it for the tutorial. And I can't go into creative well, this one here I probably could if I asked, but I don't like building that way. I'm not going into creative here. I don't have the ability to go into creative. I don't even have the ability to go into peaceful mode on either one of these. I think it's on easy mode. I might be wrong, but I think this is on easy, although the way them bastards are acting, I'm not entirely sure. But I'm going to start saving bows just in case, because I'm going to need some dispensers too. Yeah, well, anyways, but he was all, because I guess he put 3 holes in his house and he was trying to wire it up and it didn't work. Well, those old houses are a pain in the ass. That is no joke. They are just a pain in the ass. And I suggested that he wait until he's done moving, because if he takes, this would be my guess, and I mean, it's just a guess, but I got a feeling that if he takes too long, his girlfriend, because she probably doesn't want to be the only one unpacking stuff, and that's a completely legitimate thing. So he knows, well, if I do it, I got to do it in a hurry, and he probably doesn't work like that. He probably does not, as an electrician, he probably does not put himself under that much pressure when he's doing it. Be a guess, because he wouldn't be as good at it. And so I suggested, go wait until you're done moving, wait until all your bullshit's done, and then try it again. It'll probably go easier. But I go, you need, and I told him, I go, you deserve points for trying to do it under pressure. But I go, it's just not good for you. It just isn't good for you to do that. And I'll do this way. At least this way I can outrun them. But it's better for me to do it 3 wide like that. So I'm gonna end up running into lava or falling through a hole eventually. But as soon as I get like 1 or 2 more, I think I got to do like 1 or 2 more levels down. I can put some. Yeah, I feel bad for the guy though, because it's like he seems like a pretty good guy. I only know him from the internet. He seems like a really nice guy. Seems like someone who works his ass off. He tries to be a good family man, and he just keeps getting hit with bad luck or bad. I mean, just it's stuff everybody goes through, but it hits him hard because he's under a lot of stress, I would guess. And but that's the thing, it's hard for me because that's my server. That's my server, and it's like, yeah, this doesn't do me a lot of good if it's going to be, every time there's a major hiccup, oh, I can't do this. It's like, yeah, I need the server. I really do. So it kind of makes me worried. It's like, yeah, I kind of need something, because if it's going to go to shit, it's like, well, if it's going to go to shit, maybe I should just jump onto my own fucking game now instead of putting any more, because he just he's been, and the thing is, I usually don't need other people for this, but we did a Halloween build, and I think it cost us one good player, because I think he got burnt out by the time it was over, and I really do think he got burnt out by the end of it, and he don't play anymore for whatever reason. Yeah, so anyways, with TikTok, I saw this video complaint, and I'm like, I couldn't find any other way to think, so I had to go to the reporter problem. There should be a thing on there for you to instantly dispute it. And so I told him, I go, hey, look, this is a commercial. It's a parody for Dickens cider, not Dickens cider. So I go, I hope, I would expect you to correct this mistake as soon as possible, and put the fucking sound back on. It took like 2 days, and this is the thing I get back. They're like, oh, because it basically said it was, the suggestive nature of it violated the terms of service and all this. And, I'm like, hey, look, clearly it doesn't. You were wrong. Please fix your bullshit. And then they told me, oh, it's a copyright violation. It's a commercial, a parody. Well, if that's what it was, they would have said so. They wouldn't have said that they wouldn't have been talking about the suggestion. They're just liars. They're just absolutely liars. And because the people that made it, I'm pretty sure they put it up on Facebook and other social media. Well, that makes it kind of out and about. And so if I do find stuff that I am going to watch, I don't think I'm going to be watching TikTok right now. They don't seem like a very honest and honorable company compared. Because like I said, I've heard a lot of those, and they're bigger than me. They've legitimately put in the work and earned it. And as soon as they get to where they start making money off TikTok, they start shitting on it. I might end up dying. This might be a stupid thing to do. I don't know. I got hit once. That's really, considering all the shit that's in there, that isn't too bad. So yeah, there's that. That kind of bummed me out, but that really didn't have anything to do with it. Except if I felt good, I would have done something. I would have been doing more of this. I wouldn't have been waiting until, but like when I got up, I haven't been great for the past week, and other people have been doing the cooking. And while it's not bad, it's not my cooking. Although the meatloaf, I might have that in a little bit when I take a break to get something to eat. Okay, I lured them down here enough. Fuck it. And but I don't feel the need to advertise them right now until they start doing shit better. Like I said, if they would have just came out and said, "Oh, well, this is a copyright," it wasn't a copyright, but either that or they're fucking worthless. Because I don't care what your company is. If you're gonna fucking complain and cry about shit, you really need to be telling people what it is. Like, if you're telling me. If you like, it'd be the same thing if they told me, "Oh, well, we took your video down because it put dick pics up." No, it didn't, because I don't do that. If there really are dick pics on my thing, then somebody hacked in and put them up, because I don't do that shit. But that's what they did. They go, oh, well, this is, this. And I'm like, well, no, it isn't. It's Dickens apple cider, not my dick inside her. And then as soon as they get hit with that, they're like, oh, well, this is a personal story, YouTube exclusive here. Although I think I have mentioned this on Twitch. But when I was down in Indiana, I got pulled over by some cops. And this is after I'd gotten a DWI. And what it is, other people had run into this. I didn't have it nearly as bad as other people, but other people ran into this. If you had out-of-state plates, they harassed the shit out of you. Like a buddy of mine, he had like an after-factory backup camera put in. So like when he would put it into reverse, it would show him what was behind him so he could back up a little more efficiently. Well, it was street legal in Wisconsin. It was registered in Wisconsin. That means it's street legal in all 50 states, whether they like it or not, no matter what their rules are. Well, they just kept pulling him over for him. And what it was is they wanted to harass him to see if he was drunk. Because his wife worked at a bar, and he would basically go after work and hang out with her. And then if she needed it, he'd give her a ride home, so she didn't have to drive drunk. Well, every time he'd be leaving the bar, he was just, he admitted, he's like, just about every time I leave the bar, they would be following him home. Like one, they put up the cherries and berries right as he got into his apartment. And what they were doing is they were fishing because if he was drunk, he's been sitting at the bar for all these hours. You gotta be fucking drunk, right? And, well, then when they couldn't find anything, well, then they'd hit him with this, oh, well, you had this thing and we're going to give you a ticket for that. And at a certain point, you should be able to contact somebody for the harassment. Like, if nothing else, the federal government at a certain point should have to step in because it's harassment. It really is. But they kept nailing him for this backup camera. And he finally got so tired of dealing with their bullshit, he removed it. Well, that's what they did to me. I had gotten a DWI. And the judge, again, because I looked into it later, and it was one of those things, it's kind of like that Joe Pesci thing from the Lethal Weapon movies, where he's like, yeah, you never go through the drive-thru because they're going to fuck you at the drive-thru because they know you're going to be miles away before you realize you got fucked and you're not going to come back and get it fixed. Well, and that's the thing, they do this shit to you when you're out of state. You're just going to pay the ticket. You're going to go away. You're not going to make them accountable for it. And what happened was, I looked it up later. If you're a first-time offender for a DWI, and you're supposed to be given a much lower sentence than what I got. I basically got the exact same sentence that a guy who was like a repeat offender for drunk driving. He wrecked his car, went off the road. I had pulled over to fucking sleep. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not even sure I was drunk. I blew the legal limit, but I think somebody slipped something to me because it didn't feel like being drunk. It felt like when I was medicated at the hospital. The only time I felt like that is not when I'm drinking, but when I've been into the hospital. And because I overheard the one cop, I think they knew it too. And this is the thing, there were people at work who had connections with the police. There were rumors that there were people that were getting upper management out of speeding tickets and shit like that. and drunk driving tickets in exchange for like overtime and other special treatment at work. And I got a feeling that might have been their first attempt to try and get me for trying to shut. I was a whistleblower. I got certain things done at work that certain people in power didn't want. They had to quit, giving certain people special treatment for whatever. Maybe not all of it, but a lot of it got shut down because of me. There were people in management who either, most of them just got moved around like Catholic priests, diddling kids, but some of them, there was like one or two that did get let go. Some of them got taken out of management, put into other positions. That's got its own little problem. But I think that might have been the first shot across the bow. And then later on, when they couldn't get me any other way, it really appears to me that I was drugged or poisoned for it. It ruined my health. I lost my job, lost my insurance, all that shit. And so here I am now doing this shit. But I think that was the first one. Well, after the DWIs, the judge down there, he was going to make it so I couldn't get my license for like a year, And I just asked him, I go, well, this is because that stuff usually doesn't transfer. If I got a speeding ticket in one state, it usually didn't cost me points. Well, the drunk driving's a little different, and I don't really have a problem with it. I don't think it should be. It should be like it to me. They shouldn't be writing specific laws just for that. It should be like all other driving offenses. If you keep your record clean for 3 years, it should be gone. Decent people are paying for the repeat offenders. Somebody I work with, they go, if you look into it, you can actually murder people and get less harassment from the courts than if you get a drunk driving. And what's funny is they've done all this shit, and the repeat offenders, they're still doing it. They're still getting away with it. Where decent people like me and maybe you or whatever, it's like we get to, just basically put on the rack and stretched over it. And again, we're paying for the bad actions of others. And it ain't really right. But anyway, so I heard one of the cops, I was pretty out of it, but I heard one of the cops go, oh yeah, just run him for alcohol. They did not want to run me for, they didn't want to run me for, they didn't want to run me for other stuff. Well, I think I was roofie. And they didn't want that coming up. See, then they might not have been able to get me on the drunk driving if it's like, oh yeah, but I was pulled over, I was sleeping. Well, they got me. And the judge threw the book at me. Well, then I got a work license. I was able to drive to and from work. Well, I worked out of state. So guess what? I got to drive. I had a really creative, because you're allowed to drive so many hours. So the weekends when I might need to come home, that was the longest stretch. Other than that, I had like a 1 to 2 hour window every day that I could drive. I could basically drive to work. I could drive home. I couldn't really do any overtime unless somebody else was driving, except for on Fridays, because Fridays, I had it set up so I could drive back to Wisconsin and drive back home from Indiana. And so I had to have, it was like a 5-hour trip. So I had to have like 6-7 hours in case there were road problems. And I would do that. And then I had the same thing, like it was either Sunday or Monday. I had a window that, it was about a 7-8 hour window, but that way would give me time to drive back to Indiana. But the rest of the week I had, a few hours here, a few hours there. The rest of the time I wasn't driving. Well, I was coming home from work and I was on second shift. And so I was working until like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I stopped at a gas station because, again, I had a window. I had time on the weekends to go to the grocery store. If I needed anything else, it had to be a quick trip on the way home. I couldn't, I didn't have time to go for a 30, 40, 50-minute shopping spree during the week. And so I just hit a gas station on the way home, and I got a gallon of milk, or a half a gallon of milk. And it was just tied me over that's the only thing I needed. I didn't need pop, didn't need food. I just need a little milk. And so I stopped. I was nowhere near the pumps. And I get pulled over by this cop right after I'm pulling out. He did the same thing to me he did to my buddies down there. He immediately starts up on the bullshit. And he goes, well, yeah, I pulled you over because you were I thought you might be stealing gas. I parked at least 50 feet. I was on the side of the building. I parked at least 50 feet away from the nearest gas pump. Not making this up. I mean, I was literally, and I go, officer, I think at a certain point, he might have been worried that I was recording this thing. And, and that would have been, if I'd have kept getting pulled over like my buddy did, I would have started recording this shit and at least putting it up on the internet and sending it to news companies, see if any of them would pick it up. But I had this guy, I think, sweating by the end. It was funny. I pulled over and I'm waiting for him to come up to the driver's door. Well, I parked right up to the edge of the road so he'd have room. Well, he was trying to come up on my passenger door. And I think he was a fat fuck. I think he almost fell a couple times because he couldn't stand on the flat part of the road. I took all of that up with the car. So he's standing on that uneven shit next to the car. And it kept looking like he was going to fall over. It was funny as shit. And, but I go, officer, how the hell, how the hell could you be worried that I was stealing gas when I was at least 50 feet from the gas pump? I go, am I like Harry Houdini here? I go, that's not really a serious thing you're saying. And I had like an old, I can't remember the exact, I think it was like a 2004, 2006, but it was an old Cavalier, Chevrolet Cavalier. And those were good cars. They don't make them anymore because you could basically run them forever. Those were damn good cars. But it was like over 10 years old. And he was just basically doing what he did to my buddy. They pulled him over trying to figure out that he was drunk. And but I go, how could you possibly think I was stealing gas? I go, that's not a legitimate excuse because I was nowhere near the gas pumps. And then he's like, well, you didn't turn your lights on until you got over by the road. So again, we thought you were stealing. I go, well, officer, that's a lie because I have daytime running lights. The lights come on the minute I turn the car on. Any reasonable person is going to note that this parking lot is pretty well lit. I didn't need the lights on until I got out on the road. And that's bullshit too. So could you explain to me why you pulled me over? And then he's like, well, you took off kind of fast. And I go, it's one of these rural towns where if you don't live in rural areas, you're not going to understand this. But there's rural towns where, like, say, a block into the town, the speed limit drops from, say, like 55 or 60 to like 30. Because you're just you're basically Mayberry. And so I go, yeah, I go, look, we're about a block away from the highway. It's 60 miles an hour there. And they're turning off here. There's a turnoff from that right in. I didn't want to get clipped. And I was under the impression that the speed limit was 30 miles an hour on this road. Am I wrong? And he goes, oh no, it's 30 miles an hour. I go, are you saying I exceeded 30 miles an hour? Because I don't think I did. And he's like, oh, no. He goes, you were under 30. You just took off kind of fast. I go, okay. So we're back to our thing. Why on earth did you pull me over? Because you're basically saying you pulled me over for doing the speed limit. now he was like in full panic mode. Then he went back to stealing the gas. And I go, again, officer, I go, we've already discussed this. I go, you're arguing in circles here. I go, I've already explained to you that I wasn't stealing gas. And I go, there's no rational person that would think I did when I was that far from the pumps. And then he started talking about the lights again. I go, look, again, officer, I go, we already discussed this. I go, I already explained to you that I got daytime running lights. They turn on automatically with the car. I go, are you saying one of my lights isn't working? Because I go, I'll get out and check that right now. And he's like, oh, no, they're working. Yeah, your daylight lights come on. I go, okay, so let's please not go back to this or the stealing gas. And he goes, well, you did take off kind of fast. And I go, officer, I go, you sure you want to stick with that story? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, this is an 11-year-old 4-cylinder Chevy Cavalier. I go, there's neutered dogs that have more balls than my car. I go, do you really want to stick with that story that I somehow, just opened up the car and took off like a bat out of hell? I go, that's not going to hold water. And then they figured out that I'd already sent for them. They were at my apartment, but it was like in the spring and the fall, you get like a monsoon season down there where there's a lot of rain. And that's where we were at. And I did not want to put my stickers on the license plate until I had a dry day. And, that's where I was at. So they had me on that. But that was the thing they did with my buddy. They wanted to pull him over for drunk driving. And they just constantly used, like if he'd had tinted front windows that were, pretty close to the edge, they would have pulled him over every time for his tinted windows. And at a certain time, I'm sorry, these guys need to be held accountable for that. If they are abusing things so that they can harass people, because they've got, if they're basically manufacturing reasons to pull people over, that's something that they should really do something about. It ain't right. It really isn't right. But that's what they were doing to me. Well, they that judge was so convinced I wouldn't be able to drive for a year. Well, I had to have an occupational license for 6 months. And then after 6 months, I got my driver's license back. And, another thing, I think this is State Farm Insurance. I had such a good driving record. I had been with State Farm for I want to say 10, 15, 20 years. I finally got this notice that, basically they wouldn't drop me. It was a guarantee that they wouldn't drop me. And after I got the drunk driving, the insurance agent down there in Indiana, he dropped me. And then my old one up in my home state, they were actually, I'd already signed up with either Geico or somebody else, but they were trying to get me back because I wrote somebody higher up and I go, I was supposed to not be able to be canceled because I had such a good driving record. And I go, apparently, this slob in Indiana didn't get the fucking notice. So my old agent was trying to get me back, but I told him, I go, I'll be making sure I let everybody know on social media and everywhere else. So I'm doing it here. I'm keeping my word. They basically didn't keep their word either. And that's the way it goes, I guess. But, but that guy down there, I don't think he really liked union workers because I can't even remember that guy's name. It definitely wasn't Jake from State Farm, but that guy there was running down UAW workers for no good reason. I think he just probably mad that we made more than he did or whatever. And the fact that our parents weren't married or weren't related before they got married would be my guess. And, but they did that down there. Well, they pulled me over on the way home, and I think they thought they had me. It's 11 o'clock at night. He must be out at the bar again. And the judge said he couldn't drive for a year. Well, they pulled me over, and like I said, that dude had to again come up on the passenger side on the the fucking extreme slope of the fucking road. But this was right by work. So I had somebody come up at work. They go, "Hey, you get nabbed on the way home?" And I go, "No." I go, "I got let go with a warning." And but he's like, "Well, what was it?" I go, "Well," they were just fishing to see if I was. I go, "I got a DWI." So I go, they probably ran my plates and go, oh, we got him. He's driving without a license. He's driving drunk again. And they pulled me over. And but again, they were looking for every fucking excuse to pull me over. And then they found out, oh, no, your car is registered. It's renewed. I just haven't put the sticker on. Well, then they wanted my ID. And they had a legitimate reason to pull me over. The only thing is, it's like that one where they shot that kid for jaywalking down in Missouri. Well, after the fact, the police chief or the sheriff was caught. Well, he may have been the one who stole from the store. Well, did the cop know it when he shot him? Oh, no, we didn't even know it. And it's like, so this is the thing, he pulled me over. He pulled me over because my tags were expired. But the problem is he didn't know that my tags were fucking expired when he pulled me over. Just completely sloppy, incompetent police work. Well, then he's like, well, I need to see your license. Like, oh, yeah, right here. And then that's when he really got panicked because I pulled my license out and I gave it to him. Well, it took them a while because I'm not kidding you. The rules on it for when I could drive, it was like a fucking novel, man. Because I was allowed to drive 2 hours to get to work. I was allowed to drive for 2 hours to get home from work. So like there was 2 entries for every day of the week. There were two things on there for Monday, Tuesday. When they probably need, these fucking crooked cops down there. They probably needed, like to get the magnifying glass out because they can't, they probably don't even pay these guys. It clearly didn't have a dental plan. I don't think they had a really good eye plan. And, but they saw that, yes, I have an occupational license issued to me by Wisconsin. So go fuck yourself. I can drive. And then they go, oh, this is an occupation. I go, yeah, I work at GM here. So I go, I've got it set up so I can drive to and from my home state. And I go to and from work each day. And they couldn't fuck with that, regardless of what that fucking... And this is the worst part of it. The judge that ruled on my case was a fucking drunk. My understanding from what I heard down there, this guy had to wear an ankle bracelet to come to court. This guy had an ankle bracelet, and he's the fucking judge. And apparently he'd gotten caught, why he was still a judge at this point, but apparently he'd been caught being too drunk to fucking rule from the bench. So you know how they got this is what I was told, and I believe it. Whether you believe it or not, sometimes they have those things on a car for drunks. You have to blow in it to show that they're, they featured it in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. You have to blow in it to show that you're sober before the ignition will activate. Well, this judge had to blow in a breathalyzer every time he came into court. He went out for lunch, had to blow in a breathalyzer, had to blow in a breathalyzer at the beginning of the day. Apparently the cops were giving this drunk a fucking ride home. And this is the guy that ruled on my case. Give me a fucking break. But yeah, that's why things get fucked up sometimes. And I got to... And but yeah, so anyways, this guy here, he lost. He was one of those ones. These are the type of people you don't want in power because he's telling everybody in court, well, if you'd like me to reconsider this, you can just write me a letter. He was letting everybody know I'm in charge, and it just told. These are the type of people that shouldn't be in office. They really should. And so anyways, they found out, oh, he's got an occupational license. And then they found out I was working at GM. And then they were real nice. They go, oh, we just want to tell you we appreciate you GM workers coming down here because that generates a lot of revenue for us. And, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, oh, okay. And, but yeah, that's what happened there. But it's like, this guy was right. And then after I got my regular license back, then I would basically, like every Saturday, I would go to the grocery store and I'd usually go to Hooters. Sometimes it was later at night, sometimes it was for lunch. But after I got the DWI, I don't care if it's one drink or not. I never got behind the wheel again if I'd had a drink because it's like that. I had to spend like 2 weekends in jail again. I got the same fucking sentence from that crooked fucking judge, that drunk fucking judge, that criminal fucking judge, that the guy who had like, you know, fucking 8 DUIs, fucking wrecked his car and all this other shit. I got the exact same. Now, granted, I just signed off, and it's my fault for not getting a lawyer. But again, I had enough money on me to bail out, just cash on hand. They had to have an surety bond, and they got in trouble. They got in trouble a number of years later because they were misusing the bail system. They were holding people in that should have been released, and it was it was like certain counties down there, and they got, I believe that came out of the federal courts, and they were basically said, yeah, you can't do that anymore. And so they had to quit, or they'd start probably having their cases overturned at the federal level. But I didn't benefit from that, so I had to sit in there. I was not able to get out and prepare, get a lawyer. I basically got arrested like Saturday night or something like that. And I was basically in jail until I think Monday or Tuesday when my court hearing was. And this was not like civilization where usually there's like a hearing that night and you're good to go. I had to wait unless I got an surety bond. And even some of I got to give them credit. They're like, well, we really can't recommend bail bondsmen. And he was pointing at a couple of them on the list because we officially can't. But like, if you wanted to, you know, but if you want, you can call. Here's a list of them. It's down there by the phone. You can call them and get bailed out. And I called every one of them that, you know, he had recommended, and a few. I didn't call like all 20 or 30 of them on the list. But the ones I did call, it was like, you know, Sunday night. And they're like, well, I'm not coming all the way down there for that because it wasn't, you know, this is why I shouldn't have been held, because it just was not a big deal. Even the bondsman knew. It's like, God, that's not a very big bond. I'm not driving all the way down there for that. And because they shouldn't have been holding. These are ones you should have been released on your own recognizance. It's like, that's the way it was. And so I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly what they did to Steve, though. They would just look for any little reason, any little insignificant little thing to pull you over. And then, well, like I said, I was going to Hooters, and I do it like once a week. You know, don't get me wrong. One of the cooks there, they go, hey, how was the food? And I told him, I go, look, I mean this sincerely. I go, I might not come as often, but I go, I think I would still come for the food even if you didn't have the girls here. And that one, he was an older black guy, real short. He goes, you know, that might be the nicest compliment somebody's ever given us. I go, that's the way it was intended. I let him know. I go, hey, I would still come for the food even if you didn't have the girls here. I actually liked their food. There was, I can't remember, it was a chicken sandwich or a fish sandwich, but I think I ordered it once as a sandwich, and after that I just told them to bring it open face because it was so juicy. The bun was just soggy. Every time I bit into it, the bun would like disintegrate and the meat would start to fall out. So I started eating it as a just, you know, basically with a knife and fork. Forget the bread, because it was just a mess, but it was delicious. But it was the way they cooked it. It wasn't greasy. It was just too juicy. And I can't remember if it was the chicken or the fish, but it was just not a good thing as a sandwich because it wasn't dry like a lot of your fast food. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I don't do this that much. I'm trying to build like regular farms. I don't know why, but I had 2 villagers up there that were picking wheat, and one of them died, and I replaced them, and then both of them died, and I'm not replacing them until I get a roof on there. I think they're coming in through the open top on it, which maybe not. I really don't know. They shouldn't be, but they might be. So I'm not doing it until I get a roof on it, and they could be, for all I know, phasing through the wall on it. The first time it happened, I thought it was they were coming out of the bed, so I took the beds out, and but they just disappeared, and I don't entirely know why. It's probably a glitch, but I'm not 100% sure. And But until that broke, I was getting wheat, and I could just go take like a couple stacks of wheat, and I could breed. I could breed the animals with it. I could go and trade for emeralds. And right now, that's the only way I have to repair my tools. And my pick took some severe damage. I'm not complaining, but my pick took some damage. But yeah, I was leaving Hooters, and I had a fucking cop following me. And again, all I had was soda. And I waited till but again, they thought I was going to be without a license for a year. And I think that cop that pulled me over for stealing gas or not having my lights on or whatever, I think he must have made a note in my file. This guy followed me, and I think he could see, because as soon as I noticed him in the rearview mirror, I just started smiling. And he fucking, as soon as he saw me, I'm not kidding you, this guy followed me for a while because I noticed him. And then he kept following me, I was on my way to the grocery store. I was on the same road. I didn't turn off. But as soon as I made eye contact with him in the rearview mirror and just started smiling, he disappeared. And I never had another fucking problem with those cops. But that one that I had sweating that day, I think he must have put some notes in my file like, yeah, maybe leave this guy alone, because that guy was fucking nervous. But what I'm thinking is it was like 6 months, a year later, it was a little bit after that, they started getting in trouble for some of their antics. And I think the bullshit had already started to roll downhill. Like the lawsuits were already probably going, because what I was talking about like a year or two later was the ruling. And I think this one might have went to, I can't remember, but I think this one might have went to the actual, it was either the upper appellate courts for the federal courts, or it was the Supreme Court. So the lawsuits had to be rolling on. That takes a couple years to work through the system. But all I can figure is that must have worked its way through. But again, as soon as I smiled at that guy, he just turned off. And I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, as soon as he realized, okay, this guy isn't nervous that I've been found. He's actually smiling at me. And like I said, I noticed a difference after that one guy pulled me over. And then after this guy followed me, I never had another fucking problem with those cops down there. Not one. Yeah, it was bad. It's like, officer, I'm sorry that your parents were still related after they got a divorce, but you don't have to take out life's disappointments on me. Yeah. This was already in there when I started, but I got like 50 nuggets out of this thing just from the little bit. What I'm going to do is I still need to repair my tools, and I've got to piss. Actually, I'm going to go up here because I was getting shot at. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to kind of keep an eye on my game. And what I got to do is I got to go pee. And then when I get done, I'm going to grab a bite to eat. If I can, I will bring it up here, and then I can chat with you guys a little bit, but I'm not going to stop the recording. I wish there was like a pause thing where you could pause it and start it back up, because I would do that definitely. But because I want this on one video. I don't have the ability to edit stuff real good right now. But I'm going to go ahead and pee. Hopefully, now, if I don't come back for a while, then that means I was unable to clean the stairs, or I fell on the stairs and I won't be up. But hopefully, I'll be back in like 10, 15 minutes. And then when I get back and I'm eating, I'll be able to talk to you for a little bit. I'll put the Be Right Back screen on here. And I need to make one of these that's just for YouTube, for when I record stuff on here. And if I was planning on doing a lot of, because like I said, I put one that, usually I do duets on TikTok. And that's what I told them. I go, look, I usually do duets. I don't put a lot of stuff up. I go, I'll find other stuff to do instead of putting stuff up on here. If it's going to be, if you, you know, if they're going to be that fucking candy ass about it, because they clearly did not have a copyright issue. Somebody complained, and they like a dumb fuck, they gigged it, and then when it was pointed out they were fucking idiots. Well, then they looked for another because they didn't want to admit that they made a mistake, so they wanted to make it look like, oh well, no, it was well, no, it wasn't done for that. And I told them that. I go, hey, look, I go, if it's a copyright issue, fine, but I go, it clearly wasn't a copyright issue because if it was, you would have said so. I go, somebody complained and you guys didn't do your due diligence and now you're just covering your ass. And I go, that's fine. And then they said something like, well, when you do another one, it'll have to be approved. It's like, well, I won't put too much up. Then I told them, I go, look, I usually do duets. You can forget me doing anything original again if you guys are going to be dicks like this about it. Oh, I'm back. Okay. The Babylon 5 that I'm watching now, if you have not seen this and you like sci-fi, I think HBO Max has got it. I actually own a copy so I can watch it. And this is the one where they kidnapped him and they're trying to find out what's going on. There was a accidental war was started with an advanced alien race. And this alien race was basically orbiting Earth, ready to pretty much end the human race. And they just suddenly stopped and surrendered for no reason. And there were some in the Earth government. He disappeared for like 24 hours. And there's some that think the Minbari used him as like a fifth column or a Manchurian candidate, you know, like a Trump. And they it was generally these people that did not serve in the war. They either came to power afterwards or they were in the rear with the gear. And they had this delusion. The Minbari stopped because they didn't think they could beat us, so they decided to do it this way. And it's like, no, what really happened was usually if I just wiggle the stick, the lights come back on, but it didn't this time. But it was an accident that started it, misunderstanding. Well, one of their leaders got killed. So they had basically just, you know, there was a tie vote and they had one leader from the Grey Council left and she voted to kill him. Well, then after they had slaughtered like a lot of humans, her rage had kind of died down. And then she's like, well, we really don't know anything about these guys. We should bring one in and study it. And they go, well, choose quickly because there's not too many of them left. Well, he was the one they brought on board. He was the one they brought on board. Well, what they found was Minbari and human souls were linked. They had long felt that every new generation for hundreds of years, like 1,000 years, every generation of Minbari wasn't quite as good as the one before it. That was their opinion. They'd come to this on their own. Well, they realized that these souls were being born in humans. It really wasn't what it was, but it was the best information they had. So they decided, well, we can't kill them; they're us, you know. And then later in the series, what happens is the Vorlons, an even older race, part of the races that are known as the first ones. They were some of the first ones, and they're millions of years old. They manipulated time and sent this guy back in time with a stolen space station. Like Babylon 5, you find out early on when you watch it that the first 4 Babylon stations, 3 of them were sabotaged, and the 4th one just disappeared. It just kind of, the eyewitnesses said, yeah, it just kind of winked out of existence. And so they built the 5th one. Well, he went with some other people and the Vorlons and the Minbari and another alien race. They stole Babylon 4, and they took it back 1,000 years to fight a battle. They needed a space station which they could use to launch attacks from, and the Babylon 4 was the biggest of the 4 original stations, so that's the one they stole. Well, he had already been around the time flux. He was only there for like the first season. He got sick. Yeah, I think he had health problems, like mental health problems. Well, they did manage to bring him back for like, I think 2 episodes so they could complete the arc. But he went back, and then while he was traveling back in time, they converted him to a Minbari. They changed him from a human to a Minbari. Well, the reason why they thought the human souls were Minbari souls is because they knew this guy, Valen, a Minbari not born of Minbari. That's a thing that's throughout the show. Well, what happened was after the war was over, he married, he had kids. So there was human DNA for like 1,000 years mingled with Minbari DNA. And they had there was a thing, it came with him when he went back in time. Well, it was sensitive to human DNA. So anytime it came by one of his descendants, it would identify them as being related to Valen. Well, they thought it was, oh, this means our souls are showing up in the humans. No. It recognized the human DNA because Valen was human, but they never knew that back in the time. Somebody met Meatloaf, I think it was yesterday. This is one of the few things that I'm not sure I can make a better one right now. This meatloaf is actually pretty good. Anybody that's watching this, if you don't want to listen to me eating bullshit, just skip like about another 5-10 minutes ahead. If you're willing to sit and watch it, just skip. You don't have to listen to me eat, but I don't really have the ability to edit stuff real easily right now, so I'm just doing this. Anybody that's stuck with me for like an hour and a half, if I can do something to help you out, I definitely will. Just skip like 5 or 10 minutes because I'm almost done eating. Every now and then you hear talk about this show being rebooted, and I have nothing against them rebooting this. But if they're going to do it, I hope they do it right, because this thing here, it was on 1 or 2 shows, and it was on 1 channel or 2 channels when it started off. This is back in the 90s. I think it was one of the first shows to exclusively use CGI for its graphics. It was at the cutting edge of it back then. The channel it was on, they kept doing things that were, they might not have meant to do it, but they kept doing things to it that almost ensured it was going to get canceled. They'll do this with a lot of shows. Oh, well, we don't like where it's at, so we're going to move it to another day and time. Oh, we don't like it there, we're going to move it again. Well, every time you move it, you run the risk of the people that are watching it not knowing where it's going to go because they never really advertise it that good. Well, if they show up and see it's not on, they'll probably think it just got canceled. They won't go look. This was before you had TiVo and all this other shit that actually records it, wherever it's scheduled, not when, it's supposed to be on. And, it was before that. And they kept doing it. Well, then it got picked up by TNT. They actually picked it up. And they finished it. Well, by the time that happened, they had already, because he had actually written an ending to it for season 4. Season 4, they ended. It wasn't picked up again, so they technically ended it on season 4. Well, then it got picked up at the last minute. I think they had actually shot the ending for season 4 when it got picked up. The 5th season kind of sucks a little bit because they thought it was going to end. So I think there was a lot of stuff that was going to happen in season 5 that got kind of crammed into season 4. So they did it, and it wasn't bad, but it was probably the weakest season of it, season 5. And then it was probably the weakest season of all of them. And then they did some movies. Like the original pilot was actually a movie, and I've actually got it on DVD, the Blu-ray one. No, it's actually on DVD. But I own these, and then I also picked them up on online because the copies I had gotten scratched up over the years. Yeah, they came scratched up. And so I got it online. Well, when I first got it, I could watch The Gathering. I might be wrong. Maybe it's when I was watching it on Amazon Prime, which I don't have anymore. But I thought Voodoo had the Gathering, which is the pilot. It's actually a movie. And I wanted to watch it again the other day. Well, The Gathering ain't on here. I think we lost that, but it is also now the remastered collection. So it's all the remastered episodes. Yeah. And I don't know what the difference is. I haven't figured it out yet. I didn't get to watch The Gathering. And that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite things to watch is The Gathering. It was really good. And I want to say they did 4 or 5 movies. If you count The Gathering, like if you find and get the Babylon 5 movie collection, it'll have The Gathering. And then Third Space. I want to say there's like 4 or 5 movies that they did. And because once it went to TNT usually wanted to do a movie every year. And the thing is, if I think it's J. Michael Straczynski. If he could have found somebody that would have backed it the way it needed to be backed, this could have been, I would say, at least as big as the Stargate series. Because he got the green light. He got the green light for 2 spinoff shows. One of them was the Crusader, because that one there actually shot like most of a season. But it was the same thing. My understanding is TNT was really good at and geared for doing Westerns. They were not geared for doing sci-fi. They weren't geared for doing sci-fi, and they weren't good at it. And I think they did the same thing to Crusade that they did to Firefly. My understanding is they did not shoot the they didn't shoot the episodes in order. They didn't shoot them in order, and there was some other stuff they did. Okay. But they shot him out of order, or they showed him out of order, so they kind of screwed up the continuity of the show. They did the same thing to Firefly. And there were a lot of things that they didn't do that would have made it better also. And so that one, and then the other one they were going to do is it was going to be based on the Rangers. And I can't tell you off the top of my head what they did to screw that one up, but they did a standalone movie, and it was like The Gathering. It was supposed to be the pilot for a new show. Well, that one fell through. And then I think at the time they did, it's one called The Lost Tales. And they were actually both pretty good. He found someone that basically sold him a bill of goods that, oh, well, we won't be like the other studios. We actually want to do a real deal. We want to do a real deal for you. And when he got into it, it's like, yeah, they did these Lost Tales. It was like, they're not exactly a movie. They're not exactly an episode. It's kind of something in between, but they did 2 stories. It was released on DVD. I'm pretty sure Blu-ray wasn't around then. Might be wrong, but I don't think Blu-ray was around then. And they released them. Well, when he saw, once he got into it, he saw what they were willing to do. He wasn't willing to do any more of them with them. And I remember him, it was attributed to him. He said back then that he would not entertain anything else unless he was given like concrete assurances that it would be done right. Because what he found people that were willing to do it on the cheap to milk some money out of it, but nobody wanted to treat it like a serious thing. They just, we got Babylon 5. We can put a turd in a box and somebody will buy it. And he wasn't doing any of that. My understanding is the studio wanted to do that with when Nolan and can't think of the Bale, I think Christian Bale, I think is the actor's name. When they did that dark trilogy, that Dark Knight Batman trilogy, there were people at the studio that wanted them to do movie 4, 5, and 6. And the way I heard it, I don't know if they came to this conclusion together or separately, but the way I've heard it when they've done stories on this is that neither one of them wanted to sign up for even a 4th movie. So, but I didn't hear there was, they had a big meeting like with Supergirl on the Arrowverse. They basically went to, they brought in Supergirl, Melissa Benoist or whatever. She was on Glee and then she was on Supergirl. They brought her in, and it was her, the producers, the directors, it was the big studio bosses that were in charge of it. And they sat down with her and they had a conversation about where the show was going. And while the show is still pumping out respectable numbers, they kind of had a meeting with her, and the discussion was, does everybody agree we'd rather go out on a high note, go out while the show is doing good so we can go out on our terms? Or do people think we should keep going until the ratings crumble, and then we go out basically as a laughing stock. And everybody kind of agreed, like, yeah, it'd be better to go out on our terms. Even the actress, she was in on that, and she said, yeah, I'd rather go out when we're doing good than go out if the show tanks. So this will be their last season, and that's the way I understand it. But again, I don't remember it as, oh well, yeah, they sat down and had a meeting between the two. But what I'm guessing is when they found out Nolan wasn't willing to direct another one, they may have went to Christian Bale and said, well, hey, if we get a new director, a new producer, do you want to make a fourth movie? And I think his answer was, well, no, if Nolan's not going to be involved in it, I don't want to be involved in it. I think, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And it's kind of neat. One of these guys has got to sell. There we go. I just want to buy stuff from the. I want to buy stuff from these guys so that I can repair my tools, and then I'll just hang these guys here for now. Yeah, all four corners got one now. But that's kind of the way he felt. And I can't remember. There was something that he was involved in that was kind of big, and I can't remember what it was. But I don't think we're going to get a Babylon 5 reboot, because at a certain point, like, the guy who played Londo is dead. The guy who played Ambassador Jakar is dead. Mira Furlan just died. That's the one who played Delenn. The guy who played the second Doctor on the series, he died. I think the guy who played Garibaldi's dead now. I might be wrong on that, but I think he died. So, and this was like long before. I think they had just lost Jakar and the Doctor. I think Malari was still around and some of the other ones. Well, he basically said, he goes, well, most of the actors in it are so old, or there's a couple of them that are gone. He goes, if we were talking about doing something else, Babylon 5, he goes, the conversation would have to be about a full reboot, because there's so many of the actors that are either too old to maybe do the parts anymore. And the guy who played Sinclair, he had to leave after the first season because of health issues. And I think that was before he died. But by that time, his mental health issues had gotten so bad that he wasn't able to do anything anymore either. So, but yeah, they have talked about it, but it sounds like every time he gets into it, it's nothing that's serious enough for him to really be interested. And apparently, the studios that he was involved in, whether it was TNT, I don't think any of them realized what they had before he did, because if he's the one that's holding all of this up, then that means he did not sell off the rights. Because a lot of times if a bigger studio like TNT takes over, they want the rights, like when Sci-Fi, when they took over Stargate from Showtime, it sounds like they had the rights to any TV version of Stargate along the timeline they set up, and they had that right. I think they might still have that right because they bought it. Well, either they didn't buy it or Straczynski wasn't selling it, because it sounds like he's the one that has the final say on whether this show's going to get picked up somewhere. I'd like to get at least one of these dug out. I don't care if I actually build it, but I'd like to get this dug out, and I'd like to put the glass down. I'm trying to figure out a better way to build it than what I did on the AOS server. I gotta come in with some buckets and grab that lava. I don't care if they were there for 5 minutes. The fact that I had 20 viewers on this video before I woke up, I was pumped about that. I really was. That's the thing that pisses me off. I was actually feeling good and I was motivated about this. I get bummed out if bad things happen. That's why I really understand kind of what Biker's going through when he gets bent out of shape. But you can't let it get you down. I got to be honest with you. If I was that way, I'd have probably killed myself after what happened with GM. Me, I'd rather live just long enough to get even with the fuckers, if it's at all possible. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like I get bummed out when I have a setback or something. Like, I try not to let it cripple me. And but no, after eating that warm food, it kind of loosens up my sinuses. So I got a little bit of crap coming out of my sinuses right now. But but no, that really made me feel good. It's, and I wish they could make it for the live streams. I really do. One of them showed up and at least actually hosted my game, which was cool. When I did my Thursday night stream, that was the first time I had for an average of over 3 viewers. And I got my first host that night. I'm not kidding. I was talking to someone on Twitter who's, I think he's bigger than me, but I think it's another content creator. and I think he's a little more established than I am. But he told me congratulations. He had just gotten his first host a little bit ago. And I told him, I go, you know what? I hope I never get to where I don't appreciate the little things like this. I doubt if it's going to happen, but if I do end up making a go of this, I really hope I don't get to where I take that for granted, because it really felt good to have that host. And, but no, but there's times where I, like that, because Thursday I had, I think, like an average of 3.3 viewers. I had five for a while. I had 6 briefly viewers. And the several hours after the stream was over, I had like 17 or 18. I mean, it was like a number of viewers after the fact. And it's like, my God, if I could get them to show up when I'm streaming and they would stick around, that would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. Yeah, I'm going to go buy some glass. I want to go there with like a stack of red glass. I think it's this one that sells glass. Okay. Yeah, that's what we need. And then I'll go and recycle the rest of this into bone meal. Yeah, I'm gonna find something. I watched like 3 or 4 episodes of that. Oh my God, I feel bad. I really wish. I almost wish she quit, because she seems like a really nice person. I'd hate to see something bad to her. 2 of these weirdos already showed up at her house. But this girl that runs the Masshole Report, she and he they've been covering these guys, and one of them apparently he sent dick pics to like a 14-year-old girl, or someone he thought was 14, and he's going off on her, and he doesn't appear to be a very stable person. So I wish she would be a little more careful. I really do.
When he took his first walk, this happened. Bring handle like that. Help them out fast.
Okay.
And Don stayed with the brush bag. Together with Grim, Don.
I hate to throw this stuff out. I really, really, really hate to throw this stuff out. Okay. Okay, this is east to west facing. This is north facing. This is the one thing Silent Whisper does that I really like. He tells you the orient. Sometimes it matters. I don't know. Sometimes it don't. But he usually gives you a orientation on the map of which way you should be facing and whatnot. And okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out the length of this. He builds it differently, but again, like when he was doing the tutorial, he's in fucking creative mode, and I'm not. So I'm going to build it a little differently. Okay, now he did. Okay, on the north, I can dig this out. So basically, the north one came up even.
All the jets have left. Sailor had fallen. And at that time, called everyone for first. So we
Okay, I'm going to head back. I'm going to do a lot of running back and forth because if I'm not careful and I get too comfortable opening chests, I'm going to get sidelined by a bunch of those piglins or whatever. I need to build in. Once I get a good gold farm working, I will actually build a piglin trading hall here.
This thing stop.
If somebody doesn't start soon, one of these, I got plenty of shit to do right now. One of these Sundays, I'm actually going to start on the Nether Hub because somebody's supposed to build it, and I haven't even seen much done back at the main part of the hub, like the nexus of the hub back where spawn is.
Mr. Laura is very important because Mr. Laura is reporting the same type of maneuvering that was described by the pilot.
Yeah, I can pick all this up.
You also have economic velocity and the ability to apply gravity. You don't have weight and you don't have any obvious means of propulsion. I don't believe that what I saw was it wasn't made by us. This thing just basically made you feel small. It's a paradigm change.
Yeah, I haven't done this, but I only play this once a week. But I haven't gotten that far into it. But usually I'll have a lot more digging. It usually doesn't take me too long to run into some kind of a XP spawner. You know, skeleton and zombie. Like how the one base I dug, I have found 2 zombie spawners and a skeleton. That's on the Ace of Spades server. And, you know, okay, some of this is just laziness on my part because that one server that I was on for a little bit before it got canceled, one of the guys says, well, why don't you just go find one online and go to it? I told him, I go, look, I'll find one eventually. Because I go, I need to do digging for iron and other shit. And I go, I will eventually find one. I'm not really worried about it.
25 cents. What?
And, 2, 3, 4. Trying to find something on YouTube here. Oh wow, Scientology coup attempt at downtown development board. That looks like it's actual news. I'm not going to watch it though because I really don't care that much about Scientology. I don't have anything against them, but oh my God, they got a thing. This fucking Joe Manchin, he's supposed to be a Democrat, and I'm pretty sure somebody's tried to educate that fucking idiot. He favors, you know, just like he's supposed to be a Democrat. And if they actually go in there, this is just history. This is just basic fucking history. If they go in there and put forth a solid infrastructure plan, an absolutely rock solid infrastructure plan, it's going to boost the economy. It's going to be a good thing. You know, all you got to do is go back. I mean, the last person who did something like that was FDR, and his economic and recovery plan, and they need something bigger than that. But his economic and recovery plan, it was over 20% of GDP, and it was so unpopular that this guy was reelected to president 5 times. He was reelected so many times he died in office, and they cannot explain to this fucking mutt that this is what they need to do. It'd be good for America. It'd be good for the party. It'd keep the fascists out. And so now they trying to find something good to watch. They got a thing on there that he's come out and said he favors, you know, just like the Republicans, he favors a smaller infrastructure package. It's like, you know, somebody needs to tell him, hey, look, if you're going to sit at the big boy table, take Putin and fucking McConnell's cock out of your mouth, and then we'll talk. I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to do politics in this game, but it's like, give me a break. I mean, this isn't politics. This is good for America. You've got China. You've got China, countries in South America, parts of Europe. They are all spending big bucks on developing clean energy, getting away from fossil fuels, and all the best evidence we have says this would be good for the economy. Not only would it be good for the planet, but it would be good for the economy. And this motherfucker, because he thinks he's part of the Republican Party, is basically putting that at risk. And I mean, it's the future of our country. I mean, you've got European countries. They're doing things like The parks and the sidewalks in the parks generate electricity. They've made the sidewalks in parks solar powered. They collect solar energy. Government buildings that have these huge parking lots, they can make a material for the parking lot. You can have cars drive on it. You can have fucking trucks and semis and fucking forklifts drive on it, and it collects solar energy. They can sit there and do this. It would be so good for the country, and yet because we've got this fucking traitor in the Democratic Party that they can't get Mitch McConnell's dick out of his fucking mouth, it's probably not going to happen.
We have got pretty incredible stories. Taken by a person who was filming for a long time at the South Shore, and he left a blue wings like overall. It reminds me of the 1992 alleged crash over South Sudan Park and COVID. Brookhaven National Laboratory was stopped. 1990 UFO was on the line just 5 miles south of National Laboratory. That's it. High-tech energy. Long Brookhaven National Lab, state-of-the-art scientific research facility. Look what's happening over at the they created the first time reactor. 21 national laboratories. All here's learn to leading innovation, phase, more than likely one of when we set off the bomb, we almost sounded the alarm. Big nuclear explosion. Some other planet out there listening, they heard our signal. Think about all the UFO activity that occurred after bombs were dropped in World War II. Now they're here to stay and they're checking us out to make sure we don't do it again. Ever since we began nuclear research in 1940, it seems UFOs have followed. From Hanford in Washington State to White Sands in New Mexico, a sighting pattern. Liquids, breaking, high-tech weapons, seems to be accompanied by UFO signals. I think it's when we got proactive and let us go bail them instead of waiting for them to bail out.
I am going to make a chest. I don't think they'll spawn there. I might be wrong. I'm not 100% sure on this. But I don't think piglins will spawn there. 2 hours. This is pretty good. But I slept off and on all day, so it's no fucking surprise.
How do you follow this identification? Objects that
Oh, this is the beauty. I'm digging out so much. I might actually get some.
Originally, they were carrying different Bay Area, kind of like over Lincoln Bed on the Big Park. They would seem to be stationary for long periods of time, kind of change position. It was fake, almost motionless for hours at a time. Things don't scroll. Just steady flight. They almost look like little stars. So, system. Looks like a dance. Like blue. There's a relay. What is during your best place so far? Over the Northern Island, so so low above the horizon. They're kind of like moving sideways from behind the island. I've never gotten a good enough view of these lights to make out a shape. Through binoculars, I could see that it looked like a lozenge-shaped craft with two headlights.
There we go.
Why do you go out so much? You go out. The balloons, if it's blown, if there's kind of experiments, fine. Whatever they are, I just need to know what they are. Like Mark, I want to discover make that flash. So careful. I there's the sign. That's fine. No, that's Mark video. How very shooting location and friggin' notes. I would call them there's very hard of like all that almost very but
This stupid bastard. I just know this stupid bastard's gonna jump in the lava.
they fly all around, follow each other. The wild. I always here's the angle of the aspect of the atmosphere. So, yeah, here on the southern Atlantic shore, 6 different locations that have been isolated and correspondence. Spot out all 6 out of the 7 sites.
Oh, you guys fucked up now. I got my big brother here. Yeah, come and get me. Come and get me.
I don't know. Figure 8, very consistent with flying up coming from the Air Force. Every video taking line of sight work just like this. So, this is remaining footage. Watching it. Same camera setting, same effects, phone outline, hanging there on the air. Now watch this.
I'm gonna leave the iron here.
Yeah, it's very odd.
I'm gonna leave enough for an even number, so it'll be an exact number of golems. I'll take the rest back. I'm gonna bring some buckets. I'm gonna grab that lava.
It's on blue line.
Down the road, I might build some furnaces here, so I'm gonna start grabbing the lava. So I might start cooking some of that off here.
One of the footage that doesn't correspond to flight characteristics of commercial aircraft. One flight that has a strong bonnet. Over here, no longer there. Shooting along the coast or in any airport. That identify them with any characteristics we use to dismiss all the other footage. So they are left unidentified. Mark's video shows us this. Graph the footage at 25 miles before taking time to flying 16 Peter, the great energy. Long distance UFO surveillance. The effects of those equations have I report crash. Look at crash lab.
And this is action. On the evening of November 24th, 1992, we saw a mysterious light light up the entire sky. About 7 o'clock at night, 8th November, it was full dark. All of a sudden, it was lighter out than it is right now. After that, we noticed the lights in the surrounding area, the surrounding homes were out. There were some gentlemen standing out front, and they seemed to be pointing in the direction of the south of the car.
How long did the sparks stay light?
It was seconds maybe, a flash. Enough for you to say, what's going on? And I think it's gone. Ever since that evening, we heard a lot of stories about what might have happened in South Haven, Florida, things that had happened around that area.
The meeting with police in South, eyewitnesses saw us. Then splashed across the sky. November 24th, 1992. It was the same night that a UFO reported to crash. South Haven Town Park. Just 5 miles.
I don't care. I want the glass.
I know we lost our life. We were blocked over there. But when they contacted the utility, there's no record of how
But the enforcement is out. So the utility, as far as you were concerned, is not going to it.
the whole but that they're responsible.
Case of great first assault and response. And the train did full white tonic, however, finally we have full very train did not that night in the park.
Whoever wants to give you an explanation will give you 10 different explanations. But you can't explain that part.
According to these other witnesses, nothing don't think that so possibly failing.
There we go. Well into the green now. Come on.
Still maybe think that whole area has public built along with other the investigative attack in 1992. Anyone who shed light on this case by the content of torn out of the car they said was located in blue, white, emerald cloth, so here's what we've got so
Let's go and repair our axe.
And that's indirect.
And I don't know if the hole's got mending. No, the hole doesn't have mending. So we can't repair the hole.
It's the same that part of would normally respond to actually the type of did respond to that part of cancer or both on. They have to side of that. They only was now such that that part outside criminal stuff like stuff cancer. What do you yeah, guys I don't know the cancer don't believe very stuff. So it's like large. How long does that take? Well, they did it today towards the section. I why so it's my but now even from food actually why we don't know that goes worldwide. This case is over 16 years old, and it would be nice to have more first-hand witness accounts. What we have is a lot of reports about strange behavior of authorities in charge, and the utility company's denial of the power outage. I mean, is this a well-executed conspiracy or just a non-event? Things we have to be digging. There was a client that actually relocated. At literally about a week later, it was not from Alba. Want to know who he is? Why he feels we should know that. Okay, Steve, show us the video. Follow me. Okay, right there. What's this for? Okay, here we go. The big chunk of the brain, right over there on the wall. How
Press T to return or controller D-pad right to open chat.
second guys on that body. They're stacking something up against the thread. Very intriguing. For men, they kind of like sleep, all the blood. Which body. Was a crash, hypothetically, but this is a yes. Even a why for the second for Oprah. So another thing.
You know, dude, you are absolutely fucking useless. You did not attack that gas. You are absolutely fucking useless.
No crash response. Honestly, wow. How about on testing? You don't know how many generations. Without more information, this can't help. Find the truth. Be first responders there. Find out there.
Fucking useless. Oh my god.
Now, Chief South Ambulance Regulino 2 on that night, December 4th,
Oh, that's where I need the other one. I gotta scoop that up.
So I was one of my morning posts by Scott Kennedy. Turned by the Park Police from Suffolk County. Over there, that here. So somewhere where you don't get the freedom. We weren't specifically told it away. Once we heard that it was campgrounds, we released ourselves. This is not a city national park. It's a county park in Long Island. On the weeknight, November. First, third. Not exactly similar. Third thing comes to mind as is clear Google. 1992, that was something when you search back then, Brookhaven National Land. I was Brookhaven, like, fun, kind of attraction. Brookhaven National Land had its own reactor test, and their firefighters, fire department, were supposed to be trained on emergencies. You need to go to ground stations. That's Brookhaven National Park. A special access.
This thing has to be, if you're going to build it the way Silent did, I'm going to make mine just, well, actually, I'll probably make it the same size in here. The server we're on, I think, has a bigger simulation distance. This one here on Realms, it should be 4. You might be able to set it bigger than that, but I think it's probably set at 4 with my guess. And I might make it just slightly bigger. I don't know. I want it to work. But what I need to do is I want to get it down to Y110.
time. Relying down, data. Do it, go, right? And hold. What we're doing, just fly, but people and the person to understand the life. Here, there's billions of parts doing lots. Well, the energy spectrum in the like some aspect that was kept it from so forth. Particles that come out there, most of those particles decay away very rapidly. But there are particles that are produced that then travel off long distance. The particle light might look a little brighter than the rest of the planet. So you're actually giving us some kind of signal that you affect those sorts of things. It very much could be. What people's particles so much energy and perhaps would move so much product that the operation could be detected out of space by anyone with special sensitive equipment. So perhaps the operation could be a sequence of creating now third, 5 what you can do is you can talk to the player account. He was part of the response to that. He was actually on site. He has much more experience. Witness report. Brookhaven National Laboratory is only without access. We've got to talk to time by the accuracy of this review. There was nothing that happened. To be honest, 24, I do have the log here. There was nothing unusual, no unusual calls, and the laboratory equipment as far as the National Laboratory never left site. That's Chuck Lassalle is the current chief of the National Laboratory Firefighting. He's been there for 33 years, so you know what happened back in November 1990. Now, there's no mention in the logbook about crash, fire. Does that mean it wasn't a fire something part that night? Wouldn't be in the logbook? I don't know that there was a fire that was I can tell you, did not participate or any way of form without talk that night. If you were involved in some sort of operation, national security, would that be something that might be expunged from I'm able to? I would have to do that. I wouldn't lie to you and say, well, 7 firehouse, know anything about a firehouse, you like to say, but this never 7. So, we're a firehouse. Very young people, 16 years, but it's a lot. Of the front fire there, so hard area, I way the time, ramp there, stuff, maybe the top, but as I said, one time. Chief Lassalle said, firefighting never responded to crash in South Italy. So we have to go back to this, look at the crash evidence ourselves. All this either forensic archaeology. So we're bringing in an expert. First of all, what about it is might lead us about story about
Hey, fuckhead, what you doing?
So, let me figure this place.
Man, your cousin was right. You are a worthless piece of shit.
That's funny. There's broken. There's a lot of broken stuff. Right? forest. There are stands of oak trees that 18 to 40 feet tall. In the middle of the strip, there are young, smaller trees, only 6 feet tall. This bears
What would explain it clearly in light too? It's dangerous in places like that.
some cleared out everything here. Not a fire. There's nothing here. It could be a road.
Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6,
It's
8,
not
9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
smells or something like surface. There's dark shows oil close to like road. Or back. Sign travel. Far up the street. So that's the let's live road.
Well, I'm telling you two things you're doing. One is look at the top of the street and that way some of these things can be locked off. It's consistent with it. I'm coming down the street.
Feel like travel. Do we hit something with that on the side? Couple of you know, a couple of those minutes. That's how to take out front guard.
And two, you look at the actual own publication and down here they say, you know what? That's not inconsistent with the only flatbed, pulling the chicken without pulling it back off this boat in 2 days. There's no way to hit for the time. So what do you think of what we found on Long Island? There's no way to really explain what's on the
Very, very clear. Does it tie into crash study now? Connection to a UFO crash.
Where did you guys think with the
Look at the log itself, and it looks legit. If they're going to cover it up, now that's like their own eyewitness saw. Looking at a special around vehicle, going outside. That's right. Going outside.
so guys, with freeze factor, on the West Coast, but there's another video of UFOs of large Liverpool, a laboratory like handheld identity research, unlike handheld weapons research. They carry out explorations on a hexagon UFO activities on the Let's go.
Witness first UFO activity was back a lot of putting this onto my film. Sir, aliens from the sky over weapons laboratory terrifying. Lawrence Livermore. I worked for 17 companies. About here, here, press, on here. I worked in T division, very good practice. Not only was Jack Astor a professor of physics at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, he spent 18 years working on powerful microwave lasers as a researcher at North Livermore National Laboratory. Birthday on that classified. Yeah, it was very rough. I thought for the great first time.
Oh, yeah, you want me to tell your cousin you actually stepped up and did your job, didn't you? Yeah, you were a lazy piece of shit. You let that Ghast fire at me. And you just sat there, you know, playing with your balls, not doing anything useful.
Weapons research into big factor. He did work on nuclear-powered X-ray lasers with the foundation of Star Wars. Livermore concentrated that weapons research. I great. No. There's here that one
they thought the Harvard question took about 4 hours. That's not. We'll go over the base. The will. You know, if anything works for that, that can increase about but A's powerful just a lot. So I don't ended that
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
bigger threat. I think that it won't actually come true. If Brookhaven's modification research is somehow involved in Lawrence Livermore Lab, most efficient to preserve national security, would be boring time to have the rest take out stuff. The point is best on such a case of all the we have reports that it first correct report. So our old well, the first investigators to report on the supposed UFO crash in August 1998 over Livermore. Had a source that had
Bastard, you killed my golem. That's what he gets for being a worthless piece of shit.
Witnesses over there report fact there making rough directional changes. That means as hours after the sight, very strange thing happens to the pirate just 7 miles away for the more testing. Did anyone bother to investigate that possible crash site the next day or days
1,
after
2, 3, 4.
No, everyone including me wanted to hunt, but unfortunately there was a firefighter associated. The whole area was fully occupied. Outpost firefighter. I believe it was West Dakota. Fired up runs for 2 entire years. Not cleaned up for 5 years. By that point, places up to 40 UFO. One was that. However, why? As this point of that, that's something that has bothered me for the last people investigation point was I says everything's gone. That's the perfect cover. I don't know if it was intentional.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
UFO crash occurring in close proximity. This suggests UFOs slabs supposed to be not terror. It's ignored is how both crashes seem to occur. South Park was brought down. There's any evidence.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I do my best to keep talking, but some of this, even on this one, I gotta focus or I can't play the game. I'll do the best I can. Okay, I don't know if I'd want to live on the difference, but I don't think I'm rambling as much as I was last Sunday.
Similar video analysis, all of California. In fact, Apple worked on classified projects specialized in what this was shot by a gun. Not one of the so the 20 miles away, first thing was that shot. Go. Here,
the light is different. And they kind of move back and forth. You look closely, you see stars behind the light. So I would kind of indicate that the formation. Right.
What? The formation. What?
Formation. Helicopter stop? I don't know helicopter.
Pulling maneuvers like this, flying over full swing, they just test the that's the way it works. Look at this. Okay. Stay like her. Okay. Don't get it. Yeah, then fine. Yeah, there's a possibility. Okay. Interesting. For that. Find out what has happened. We are so excited about the building that UFOs were forming North Livermore Lab. During these are truly our identified known with full kinds of things. And now
All I'm trying to do right now is get the width of this thing. The tracks are going to run north to south. When he tells you to build it, he tells you to start in the northwest corner. You don't necessarily have to do that, but he gives you a pretty organized approach. This is why Silent Whisper will always be better at making tutorials than I'll ever be. He has a much more organized mind for it.
we're not actually seeing light. We're not seeing tail light.
That's correct. Assuming I correct, only a minor portion of light is approximately in the range of 470. That's night vision camera double. But clear camera, on the other hand,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I need 3 more. I'm going to get this trench dug. I am going to probably put a firewall to keep the gas from blasting it.
Alien craft you watch this lab. That craft generates the latest thermal signatures. With most likely test just the weapons for that.
And the secret schedule there like that.
That's 2.
There it's right there.
That's the bob of heat in the sky. How can you determine that is?
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because he gave a 1 block gap at the end. I'm going to go like another 3.
We're going to find out.
That would get that I would what I
Even with advanced thermal imaging systems, of some aircraft,
So I don't even know how much of this I'm going to get done, but I definitely want to dig a little bit more of it. And then when I get done with this swath, I might go get some more done on the raid front. Actually, you know what? It's almost 3 hours, and I am starting to get. This is actually, but again, it helps when I slept most of the day. But I'm starting to get lightheaded. When I get this dug, I will probably get some more done. If you check around, like next Sunday, if you check around, if I'm actually not going to be streaming on Twitch, which if I can find the room on Sundays, I might start doing that, where I just do like a just talking session, watch some videos, and see if I can get some people to come in and bullshit with me. Might do that. But if you are watching this, follow the link to Discord, and what I am trying to do at least part of the day. I am trying to get people to come in and watch this on Discord.
Take a closer look here. Probably came down. Yeah, there we go. That's looks like it's kind of tail structure, kind of bird back. Can't type that.
Yeah, I think this will be safe. Yeah.
You know UFO. They really like. They know how to take it out.
Oh, you little bastard. You little bastard.
Typically speaking, there are thousands of phone sightings every year. One of them found catch up in a fire or a black sky power. Now, this information or foundation.
Okay, what you got to do here is you got to do these little peekaboo shots.
I'm not convinced that there's widespread surveillance over our most energy. There are tens of thousands every year. Laboratories like Livermore and Brooklyn located their major populations. So it's only natural that they think that they propose a lab. It's people as one actually government agency and foreign not going to tell us. So we didn't not going to find it. We have to focus on eyewitness. And you'll have those we receive huge testimony.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17.
There's alien surveillance over our national flag. Got two powerless stations.
Okay.
It's not the past. It's what happens afterwards. Something else that's behind. There's much larger universe that's covered up. Alien surveillance. You can't talk about the book lost or down about things. And even in the passage, I was brought down. Now, surveillance craft what? They got and
Oh man, you're so much better than your brother. Oh my God, your brother was absolutely worthless, and that's why he died. Okay, the theory is, and it might not work yet. Hopefully you'll get to see it if you keep watching, but the theory is that he won't be able to see through here, and even if he does, he'll hit this shit. And oh god, something showed up on the screen. Oh, I've seen this before. Something showed up on the screen. I thought it was a ghast. I saw it out of the corner of my eye while I was talking. But I'm hoping I can shoot through here and get them. Might not work, but that's the fever and hope, is that I'll be able to blast those guys safely. And if not, they'll be hitting this and not me. And then I'm probably going to have to put one in the middle somewhere. I'm getting kind of lightheaded. I'm going to take a break. I might be able to get a little bit more tonight, but I'll do it off the recording. You can see the work I'm putting in here to make it, but I'm not kidding you. The way Silent builds it, he builds it over a giant fucking lava lake. So you don't have to do all the digging. So he can actually, if you do it his way, you can actually get to it. But I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to blame this on the health issues I got, because even if I was healthy, I would still be leery in the modern day Minecraft. I would be very leery about building naked and exposed out in the middle of the nether in a lava, because you've got the magma cubes that could spawn, skeletons that could spawn, the gas that could spawn. And any one of them has the ability to knock you off your little perch into the lava. And even though I'm on a realm where they have the keep your inventory enabled, I try to play as if it isn't.
So,
Let's go see what we got here. Yeah. What I'm going to do is, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. I'm going to try and stay awake, just rest a little bit. And then to increase my gold drops, down the road, I either got to build another one with an actual trident killer, or I've got to, basically, if I just redid this, I could drop, the iron golems would stay here, and anything that survived like that would fall down into a trident killer. I got options. And I'm going to go from there. Yeah, I'm going to hang out here. I'm going to kill them as I can. I'm going to watch some stuff on YouTube. But for everybody that watches this, I want to tell you, I am just grateful for the attention. I hope it goes somewhere. I really do. Just do what you can. But I'm hoping that, if I can get enough people, maybe I can get some ad revenue. I'm not looking for anything else, not unless, if I start making content that's better than this, hey, then great. But I really don't expect too much out of this. But hope everybody has a pretty good day. Thank you for those of you that have watched, especially if you made it to the end. Thank you. I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate this.